Hi, this is Helena, and we're here again today to discuss a little bit more about coronavirus and the impacts on our lives. We're getting some comments from Dr. Moondust, cancer biologist and founder of Moondust Cosmetics. Welcome, Dr. Moondust.
Thank you.
Now, the last time we met, we talked a little bit about the variants that are coming out in the news about the UK, South Africa, and Brazil, which are the three main groups of variants that you spoke about. And now we had some questions in through our various social media channels about still how daily life is affected. How we are affected in our daily lives by some of the elements of the coronavirus. So if we can, let's deal with some of those questions. On the topic of the variants, what can we do about the situation?
Well, Helena, there is some talk of booster shots becoming available for people who have had the vaccine, but that takes a bit of time to prepare. Then the vaccines themselves can be re-engineered to address these new variants, but that also takes at least a few weeks. And another interesting approach that's come up is about mixing vaccines together. So if you recall from our last discussion, we talked about how the Moderna vaccine is more effective against the UK variant, and the Pfizer vaccine is more effective against the South African variant. So possibly mixing these two together somehow could be a solution. And then countries like China and India are working on producing vaccines that involve the whole inactivated virus in order to have an immune response with a wider range of antibodies that aren't just recognizing the spike protein, but other aspects of the virus as well.
Well, that certainly is good news that there's ongoing research and adaptation. In the meantime, whether someone is vaccinated or not, we're still being asked to wear masks and to continue on. There's been an emphasis, though, on wearing 3-layer medical masks instead of cloth ones. Have you got any comments on what's the reasoning behind that?
Well, that's right, Helena, because these variants are more transmissible. And we know that they're around, they're out there, but we don't really know how prevalent they are in Canada right now. So it's better to have more protection than less protection in this case.
Better to be extra cautious. And of course, in my own personal use, I've noticed that some of the cloth masks that are available commercially, I don't have a great deal of confidence in. So I'm actually personally very happy to comply with the new emphasis on 3-layer masks. So I wonder what the advantages are of continuing the vaccination program.
Okay, well, the strategy here is that we want to try to vaccinate as many people as possible who obviously don't have a history of allergic reactions to vaccines, so that less people are being exposed to the virus, because this will decrease the number of carriers and people who can transmit the virus. And it will create what's known as herd immunity among the general population.
I wonder if you can give us an example of a country that is successful with their vaccination program.
Yes, well, I think there are going to be some positive results from Israel very soon. It started one of the earliest mass vaccination programs with the Pfizer vaccine. And it appears that the infection rate has dropped there.
Oh, that's excellent news. And of course, we're all looking for good news, as we all wait in line for our turn for vaccinations, both countries and individuals. Just to be clear, could you clarify what herd immunity is?
Yes, I will clarify that just in a second. Another point that's very relevant is that we don't want the virus, the coronavirus variants, to become the dominant strains, and that's another reason to be continuing the vaccination program quickly before they become the dominant strains. Now, herd immunity is when 60 to 70% of the population become immune to a virus or some disease. And then there's less chance of people being carriers or transmitting the virus to other people. Now, whether you have a vaccine or you have immunity through previous infection, this doesn't mean that obviously with time the antibodies are going to decrease and wear down. And sometimes that's a matter of years, sometimes it's a matter of months.
Mm-hmm.
And in the case of coronavirus, it looks like it's more like months.
It really does reinforce that we are one world, and what happens in any part of our country, our city, or even another part of the globe really impacts us. So
Yeah.
we're really working on this together, and I guess that herd immunity and the success of one country is the success of the planet, essentially. So talking about that, and also the fact that we're in a time with holidays coming up, I'm wondering if you can address one last question for us this time around, and that is, why are we seeing new travel restrictions again?
Well, this all has to do with the higher transmissibility of these coronavirus variants, Helena. We
Mm-hmm.
want to limit them coming into the country so that they don't become the prevalent strains, because
Mm-hmm.
some of the vaccines, it looks like, are less effective against these variants.
Mm-hmm. All these puzzle pieces fitting in. Of course, there's the travel component, and then there's the success anywhere else in other parts of the country or the globe. And we have to be cognizant of it all, with the first line of defense being hand washing and social distancing, and of course the 3-layer masks. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we have videos as well as blogs on that. So I invite our viewers to revisit some of the points that you've made in previous videos, as well as blog posts. And by doing that, you can see those by doing that, visiting our website. So thank you so very much again, Dr. Moondust, and we look forward to your updates.